Hey guys, check it out. Welcome back, or I guess hi if you're new. This is the second devlog for my current project Unnamed Paths. I'll find a better name at some point, I promise. So last devlog, I promised I'd work on an interior space and go into more detail, so I suppose we can start with the idea. Picture this. You're wandering the woods, you find a strange hole in the ground, overgrown but clearly built by someone. You drop into the space and realize you can't see anything. So you light up a torch and start exploring the space, only to realize the ruin is not only massive, but far from unattended. It's a little simple conceptually, but I love the idea of finding an old place with an unassuming entrance, becoming like really airy and full of sleeping threats. And simple is about all I can manage, so let's get it. Since I'll be building an interior, I'll start with the models. I went with a tileset approach because I didn't feel like dressing a pro builder level, and because a tomb having repeated rooms felt like an easy and cool way to make it feel like you're lost in the halls. So I made these pieces, with the hope that I can find an interesting way to connect them later. Surely. From a prior trip to the park, I got some cool pictures of this mossy retaining wall near the river, so I grabbed that and shoved it through a wood chipper and slapped it on my models. Probably a good time to mention that I do what I would call vibe-based texturing. My UVs are completely on the piss, and the textures are dirty to make up for the lack of any technical skill, but hey, if it looks okay, then it being kinda shit can be our little secret. So I made this little drawing to help me stay on track when building the level. The goal is to have the first layer of the ruin be almost entirely ambience, and learning to navigate the dark rooms. The player will be introduced to the space, lighting candles, and picking up little effigies that open doors. I then started snapping the pieces together to vaguely fit the concept if you squint real hard, and got the shell of the ruin. Before going too far though, I'm dying to get a new enemy started, so I'll just get into that. First, I drew these cute little guys, and I like the idea of the armoured ones walking around, but I realised that then I'd have to model legs and make nice walk cycles. So just like how Silent Hill used fog to hide rendering and make sick ambience, my laziness is going to save on dev time and make an enemy that feels more ethereal and spooky. You know, some people have told me that you gotta break through hard walls, but man, like, just walk around the obstacle if it's easier. Anyway, for this enemy, I really liked the idea that it's an enemy not worth fighting, an enemy that can die but isn't really worth the effort, so it has two different attacks. The skeleton will loom into range and toss a hidden sword at the player, which kind of gives off a slight glow to indicate the danger. The sword does pretty high damage, but it's easily avoided, and once he's lost his sword, the skeleton will float towards you and attempt to melee dash. This dash is the more dangerous of the attacks because it ignores whatever armor type you're wearing and deals direct damage. And what's cool about this is the player can actually identify if this is a new skeleton or an old one by watching if he tries to throw a sword at you. Texturing wise, I had this like little skull dice set, so I took a picture of one of the skulls inside and some of my curtains and then slapped them on, and look how spooky he is. Trying to keep the animations fast, I gave him this very still set of animations. He barely moves except for like the clicking and rolling of his fingers, and I think it came out pretty clean. I'll keep the coding quick because it's just a lot of me typing, but I set him up with a new navmesh agent, set him a random target on the navmesh that he can reach, and gave him a new one once he got there. If he encounters the player, however, then the target becomes you, and he pursues you. Breaking a line of sight will cause him to go to the last place he saw you, wait a moment, and then turn around and go back to one of his random wanderings. The skeleton has very good vision despite his ocular impairment, so really you just need to dip around corners and evade them. The sword attack then dash was pretty interesting to set up since the skeleton needed to track the player while throwing, then set himself a boolean saying he has used the sword. After it's thrown, he can continue to move towards you and try grab you, which is done by getting the player's position once in range, increasing his speed dramatically and only giving him your new position after he's finished charging. Right, that's a lot of boring shit, so let's get our boy, put him in the dark, and oh no. He kinda spooky. I'll call him Peter.
Peter, wake up!
Finally, I gave our boy some audio, and it's just mostly me making sounds into the microphone and messing with random objects inside my house. With the new spooky Peters roaming the halls, it's time to finish the tomb's layout and start decorating. We got pots, banners, candles, wide candles, tall candle, heavy candle, and wall candle. And this was really just a process of going room by room, filling out the space, but not too much, otherwise it would look cluttered, which isn't the vibe I want this room to have. I also set up these doors with a cute little idol key. To finish up, I added some specialized audio for the tomb, put a reverb zone and so the audio sounded like it was bouncing off the walls, and filled in some other little details like lights that turn on as you approach and ambient particle effects with a few scattered items. In the future, I'm almost certainly going to come back and polish this area up just like the first prototype forest, but for now I can wrap this up and start working on the second and third layer. Right after I make a whole forest. Shit, I nearly forgot! Fortitude for this anymore. How does he do it? I just can't keep placing trees. Neat. Right, well the vibes are there, and I'm happy enough with the result. Next devlog I'm going to skip over the details since you now know how I work. Anyway, subscribe and all that if you want to see more of these. Surely you do. You wouldn't want to miss the horrible resident of the third layer, right?